Greetings, heroes of Dominion. Zeus here with another electrifying video. Today, we're diving into a crucial part of your Asgard adventures: the buffs you can purchase using gold and Valor Emblems. In this video, I'll explain how these buffs function and how they can give you a significant edge in battle. We'll cover everything you need to know to boost your performance and lead your team to victory. Let's jump right in. The first buff is called Power Unleashed, and it's a game changer for dealing extra damage to Maestro's hands. You can purchase this buff up to 5 times, with each one costing 1 million gold. For every purchase, you gain a 5% increase in magic damage dealt to the hands of the orchestra. Here's how it works: when Maestro shifts into his astral form, he has 5 hands, each of which takes damage individually. By stacking the Power Unleashed buff, you'll amplify the magic damage those hands take. If you buy all 5 levels of this buff, you'll boost the magic damage taken by the hands by a total of 25%, making it much easier to bring them down quickly. This buff is essential for magic-based teams aiming to maximize damage against Maestro's hands. The buff Keepers of Balance costs 1 million gold per purchase, and you can buy it up to 5 times. Each time you buy this buff, your heroes will receive a healing bonus of 5% of their maximum HP, when they step into the material world. Here's how it works: when your heroes transition from the astral to the material world during the battle, they will heal for 5% of their max health. This healing effect stacks with each purchase of the buff. So, if you buy Keepers of Balance 5 times, your heroes will heal for 25% of their maximum HP every time they step back into the material world, greatly improving your team's survivability in long fights, especially against tough bosses like Maestro. This buff can be a lifesaver, keeping your heroes in the fight longer and allowing them to recover from the damage they take during battle. The next buff is called Total Elimination, and it's another powerful tool for boosting your damage output against Maestro's hands. It costs 1 million gold per purchase, and you can buy it up to 5 times. With each purchase of Total Elimination, the hands of the orchestra will take an additional 5% pure damage. This is particularly useful because pure damage bypasses armor and magic defenses, dealing direct damage to the target. If you purchase this buff all 5 times, it will increase the pure damage the hands take by a total of 25%. This can significantly speed up your progress in bringing down Maestro's hands, making this buff essential for teams focused on pure damage strategies or heroes that deal significant pure damage. By stacking Total Elimination, you'll ensure that your attacks hit even harder, giving you a substantial edge in the fight against Maestro. The next buff is called Mischievous Team, and it's perfect for enhancing the effectiveness of your pets in battle. Each purchase costs 1 million gold, and you can buy it up to 5 times. With each level of this buff, your pet's power increases by 5%, and if you buy all 5 levels, you'll get a total 25% boost to pet power. This buff can have a significant impact on the entire battle, especially for teams relying on pets like Albus and Merlin. Albus excels at boosting pure damage, which can be crucial against bosses like Maestro, while Merlin enhances magic damage, making your magic-based teams even stronger. With a 25% increase in pet power, these pets can dramatically improve your overall damage output and performance in the fight. Stacking Mischievous Team is a game changer, making your pets more powerful and giving your team the upper hand in dealing extra damage or providing better support throughout the battle. The next buff is called Sparkling Mood, and it enhances the power of pet patronage. Each purchase costs 1 million gold, and you can buy it up to 5 times. With every purchase, this buff increases the pet patronage power by 5%. If you buy all 5 levels, you'll boost patronage power by 25%. This buff is especially valuable for pets like Oliver, whose patronage ability heals the hero when their health drops below 50%. With the Sparkling Mood buff fully stacked, Oliver's patronage healing will be 25% more effective, allowing your hero to recover more health in crucial moments, making them much harder to take down. The increased patronage power also benefits other pets that offer support, damage boosts, or protection through their patronage skills, making this buff essential for strengthening your heroes and keeping them alive longer in tough battles. By stacking Sparkling Mood, you enhance the overall effectiveness of your pet's patronage, giving your team a significant advantage. Now let's dive into the epic buffs, which are rare and rotate weekly. The first one is called At the Limit, and it can be purchased once per week for 150 Valor Emblems. At the Limit provides a powerful benefit. While in the material world, your heroes heal for 200% of the damage they deal through basic attacks. This can offer significant healing and sustainability for your team, especially if you have heroes with strong basic attack damage. However, there's an important factor to consider: we don't yet know what Maestro's armor and magic defense levels will be. If Maestro's armor is very high, it could significantly reduce the effectiveness of your hero's basic attacks, meaning the healing from this buff may be lower than expected for some heroes. We'll get a clearer picture of how impactful this buff will be once we have more information on Maestro's defensive stats. The next epic buff is called At the Speed of Light, and it can be purchased once per week for 150 Valor Emblems. This buff reduces the recharge time for the ability that allows your heroes to step between the material and astral worlds by 5 seconds. In other words, the cooldown for switching between worlds will be shorter, allowing your heroes to shift between these phases more frequently during battle. This buff allows your heroes to transition between the material and astral worlds more quickly, meaning you can move back to the material world to heal, then return to the astral world to continue fighting sooner. The next epic buff is called Strength in Perseverance, and it can be purchased once per week for 150 Valor Emblems. This buff reduces the healing required to interrupt the deafening motif of the Thundering Horn by 20%. Deafening motif is an ability used by the soloist horn that stuns your frontline heroes. To dispel the stun, your team needs to heal the affected heroes. With Strength in Perseverance, the amount of healing required to remove the stun is reduced by 20%, making it easier and faster for your healers to bring your frontline heroes back into the fight. This buff is crucial for keeping your heroes active and minimizing downtime caused by the soloist horn's stun, giving your team a better chance to survive and maintain momentum in battle. The next epic buff is called Secret Weapon, and it can be purchased once per week for 150 Valor Emblems. This buff reduces the number of control effects required to interrupt the enervating motif by 3. Enervating motif is an ability used by the soloist harp, which weakens all of your heroes, reducing their effectiveness. Normally, this weakening effect can be dispelled by applying control effects, such as stuns, silences, or other control abilities. With Secret Weapon, the number of control effects needed to dispel the weakening from harp is reduced by 3, making it much easier for your team to remove the debuff and regain full strength in the battle. This buff is particularly useful for teams that may struggle to apply multiple control effects quickly, giving them a faster way to counter the harmful effects of soloist harp. Now we move on to the rare buffs, each costing 100 Valor Emblems. The first one is called Effective Tactics. This buff reduces the initial damage reduction of Harbinger's barrier by 10%. Here's how it works: when Maestro is in the material world, he gradually builds resistance to all types of damage. This resistance is known as Harbinger's barrier, and it makes Maestro harder to defeat as the battle progresses. By reducing the barrier's initial damage reduction by 10%, Effective Tactics helps your team deal more damage to Maestro early in the fight, before his resistance builds up too much. The next rare buff is called Charmer's Skill, and it costs 100 Valor Emblems. This buff affects Requiem, an ability used by Maestro that can block healing for your heroes, making it much harder to keep them alive during the fight. With Charmer's skill, the time it takes for Requiem to reach full efficiency is extended by 3 seconds. This means that you gain an additional 3 seconds before Requiem fully blocks your team's healing abilities. This extra time can be critical for your healers to restore health or for your team to deal significant damage before healing becomes completely blocked. By delaying Requiem's full effect, Charmer's skill gives you more control and opportunity to manage the fight, making it an essential buff for keeping your heroes alive against Maestro. The next rare buff is called Unbridled Energy, and it costs 100 Valor Emblems. This buff grants your heroes a 10% bonus energy boost each time they step into the material world. Energy is crucial for your heroes to unleash their ultimate abilities, so receiving this extra 10% energy when transitioning from the astral world to the material world can significantly speed up the frequency of their ultimates. The next rare buff is called Reverie Given Form, and it costs 100 Valor Emblems. This buff grants your heroes Harbinger's Barrier for 3 seconds each time they step into the material world. Normally, Harbinger's Barrier is a powerful defensive shield that Maestro uses to reduce incoming damage when he's in the material world. With this buff, your heroes temporarily gain the same protective shield, reducing the damage they take for 3 seconds. The next rare buff is called Power Over Life, and it costs 100 Valor Emblems. This buff allows your heroes to receive 30% of the healing that was blocked by Requiem when they step into the material world. Requiem, an ability used by Maestro, can block healing, making it difficult to keep your heroes alive during the fight. With Power Over Life, once your heroes return to the material world, they will recover 30% of the healing that was previously blocked. Now we move on to the uncommon buffs, each costing 50 Valor Emblems. The first buff is called the Tireless. This buff makes Requiem's initial healing reduction 5% weaker. Normally, when Maestro uses Requiem, it reduces your team's ability to heal, making it harder to keep your heroes alive during the fight. With the Tireless, the healing reduction caused by Requiem is weakened by 5% at the start, allowing your heroes to receive slightly more healing before the full effect of Requiem kicks in. This buff helps to mitigate the impact of healing reduction, giving your team a better chance to recover and stay in the fight longer. It's particularly useful in keeping your team sustained during the early stages of Requiem. The next uncommon buff is called Pillar of Confidence, and it costs 50 Valor Emblems. This buff extends the time it takes for Harbinger's Barrier to reach full efficiency by 2 seconds. Normally, when Maestro is in the material world, Harbinger's Barrier gradually builds up, reducing the damage Maestro takes. With Pillar of Confidence, it takes an additional 2 seconds for this barrier to fully develop, giving you more time to deal maximum damage to Maestro before his defenses are fully reinforced. His next uncommon buff is called Perfect Storm, and it costs 50 Valor Emblems. This buff reduces all incoming damage to your heroes by 10% for 5 seconds each time they transition between worlds, from the astral to the material world or vice versa. This damage reduction is crucial in protecting your heroes during those vulnerable moments when they step between worlds, as the shift can often leave them exposed to attacks. The next uncommon buff is called the Healer's Gift, and it costs 50 Valor Emblems. This buff grants your heroes 5% increased healing for 5 seconds each time they step into the material world. This temporary boost in healing allows your heroes to recover more health during this critical window, which can be especially useful for keeping them alive in tough battles. With the Healer's Gift, your healers become more effective, and your heroes benefit from enhanced healing for a brief period, helping them stay in the fight longer and recover faster after taking damage. This buff is especially valuable when facing high-damage enemies like Maestro, where every bit of healing can make a significant difference. The final uncommon buff is called Through a Prism, and it costs 50 Valor Emblems. This buff gives your heroes a 10% speed boost for 5 seconds each time they successfully interrupt any of the soloist's motifs. This means that when you stop abilities like the deafening motif from the soloist horn or the enervating motif from the soloist harp, your heroes will temporarily move and act faster. The 10% speed increase allows your team to react quicker, deal damage faster, or heal more efficiently during this short window. This can give you an edge in battle, helping your team maintain momentum and capitalize on the moment when the soloist's abilities are interrupted. In conclusion, for this week's Asgard adventure, I, Zeus, will be purchasing all the buffs that can be bought with gold to maximize my team's performance. As for the rare buffs, I've decided to go with Strength in Perseverance, which costs 150 Valor Emblems. With the information we have, I believe this buff will give the best edge in battle by making it easier to remove stuns and keep my frontline heroes active. Of course, since this is the first week and we have limited data, this is my best judgment, but I could be wrong. Now, it's your turn? What buffs are you planning to buy? Let me know in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more Hero Wars strategies, updates, and exciting content. Let's keep growing together, Guardians of Dominion. We're all in this battle to win. Salute and friendship, heroes. Victory is ours to claim.